Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco dishing on the movies. Today we're going to review a 2019 movie called Uncut Gems, like Gems. And this movie, according to the internet, is referred to as a crime thriller and stars Adam Sandler and Idina Menzel. Now, this I didn't. All I knew about the movie before seeing it was that Adam Sandler was in it, and Marco warned me about the speed at which it moved and some of the photography, which could cause me to have motion sickness.
No, I said that's what other people said about the movie, and personally, I didn't find any of that to be true. Like, everyone made the movie seem like it was going to be like this horrible experience. And for me, it wasn't, but I thought maybe Safi might think it's like that.
Well, whatever. So I did think about that because uh, I would have had to leave the room and puke. So I I didn't have any expectations except what I just said, and I didn't know that Idina Menzel was in it. So a usually comedic Adam Sandler and Glee guest star, Frozen singer, and Broadway performer Menzel fully departed in this movie from their usual roles. Really ugly in some ways, but that's good. It shows they have a range. The movie is about a beautiful uncut gem being discovered in the diamond mines of South Africa and its journey from there to New York City into the shyster grimy hands of Adam Sandler. He has a legitimate business and feels like he can get this gem auctioned off for at least $1 million. Is that correct, Marco? I think so. He's constantly doing business and making deals. But what we don't know right away is that his deals are shady. Why? Because he has a problem. This problem is severe. He has a mistress, he cheats people, and nothing phases him, like being forced to strip naked and dumped into a car trunk. There's much worse things to come, too. His wife, Idina Menzel, instead of seeing her way throughout the movie, is a little stuck up and sick of her husband, even telling him something like how she loathes him, although in different words. It was weird to see her play in a purely dramatic role. Go ahead, Marco.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't expect this movie to be. Oh, well, I was actually I was thinking about skipping this movie, but then I saw a review of it that was like, this movie, it's a miserable experience, and it gives you a headache from watching it because it's so intense, and and it's so intense and stressful and everything, and as soon as you hear something like that, it's something that actually makes me watch the movie, instead of stay away from it. It happened the same thing with that House That Jack Built movie. I heard that it was played at a film festival, and that there was like an audience that walked out or something, and because it's so graphic and violent, and then you watch the movie, it's like, yeah, okay. But I watched the movie basically because it had Adam Sandler in it, and then because I heard that. I really don't like Adam Sandler. Well, I didn't like him very much because in his movies are kind of trash. I mean, they're all kind of like very, very mediocre, like fast food type of movies. They're not good movies. They're trashy. I mean, Anger Management. That's a pretty good movie, but it's trashy. I mean, there's propaganda in it that because I think they got funding from the U.S. military, so there's all these parts in the movie where you see these huge billboards that say join the army,"
Uh,
and like that's the type of thing you see in his movies that really separates his movies from, you know, professional good movies. And so, but this movie, it's different. It's a work of art. As soon as it got started, I was hooked into it. I didn't think that it was intense at all until the last act of the movie. In fact, I was considering rating the movie a lot less than I did. I thought that the movie, it was kind of repetitive for most of it, and I was like, like, is this the movie that I really came to watch? And then there was this last act where everything really picked up and really just paid off. And I think that's the key to this movie, is that everything pays off. There's someone who actually, this movie's on Netflix for all the other countries besides America for some reason, and right now. And so there's one person who watched it, and they turned it off. And it's like, no, you don't do that. You stick around because everything pays off, and that's always it, even if the movie's horrible, if everything pays off, you can still say everything pays off. Like the Oblong Box. That movie has a really, really good ending, even though it's a shitty movie. But this movie is actually a really good movie as well as having that good third act. What do you think, Safi?
well, first of all, when I went to see the movie, my brain must have been taking a vacation because I didn't see what it was really about. Even when I watched it all the way to the very end, waiting to have motion sickness or just to see how it was all going to play out. And I uh, I was just totally surprised. And then by first I was surprised by Adam Sandler and Idina Menzel playing in the roles they were playing because it was just so different. And then I just was shocked at myself because there's a mess. This movie really is a message, and me of all people who have been on research projects studying the message or the at least the subject of what was going on and why everything was going on the way it was, I was just shocked that I didn't see it. And in fact, I still didn't see it until Marco loudly pointed it out to me. As far as I don't know what else you want me to say.
Well, we're talking about the movie. What else do you have to say about the movie?
Well,
Because a lot of people, they thought the main character was annoying and they didn't like him. What'd you think?
yes, he was annoying,
in a different way though.
but there was a reason why.
He would he was very addicted to something, and so he would keep on doing things to further dig himself into a hole, and just destroy his life around him. And he couldn't help himself, and he almost was like inhuman. And Safi said that he acted like someone who had a lobotomy or something. Right, Safi?
Yeah, the thing is, that was the story. He had a problem, and I just can't even believe I didn't see it. But it's what happens is when you have this problem, you you just keep doing the same thing over and over. It's like a circle, and it revolves around you. And you go into it, and you get your fix, whether it's some kind of food, or it's an injection, or a snort, or a pill, or inhaling some kind of smoke or exercise, or there's all kinds of addictions. And if you're really seriously addicted, you just keep doing it and you can't stop yourself because it like what was going on with him. It was just like feeding all the deals. It was like you hear this thing about with the president and the art
No,
of the
no,
deal.
no,
Well,
no,
it was about
no.
the deal.
We
Every
don't talk
time
about that.
he would just make a deal after deal after deal. One deal would lead to another deal, and because and then he had a very strong love for basketball, professional basketball, which seemed to be that's what he enjoyed the most watching. And he knew all about the players, and there were things about like gambling, about what you gamble on. I didn't even realize that you could gamble like how many three free throws and fouls, and I mean all these specifics. I just couldn't believe it.
And
anyway,
a lot of people said that he was annoying, but personally to me,
that's
I thought that there was a black side character, and I thought that he was the most annoying, and then his family too. There was a black side character. I can't remember his name. That's why I'm calling him that. Not the basketball player, but this guy with I think he had dreads or something, and he just acted horrible.
well, he was his like a partner.
Yeah, he was
One
a
of his
partner
partners.
Of Adam Sandler's, and he was horrible. He was the guy who was irritating me, and then his Adam's wife, and then his kids who were kind of
They're spoiled.
they were kind of like the kids from The Irishman, where they're like, you know, what's going on with them? Like, why are they just so like are they act like they're mannequins or something? Like they don't even
Mannequin.
like they're not even humans. And that's my personal opinion on that. I did not think Adam was annoying. I didn't think that he was that horrible, especially compared to the villains in this movie. The villains were very evil, and like it, and another thing is it was a great movie to watch after having watched Wall Street, because it's kind of like dealing with the same type of subject with
Yeah.
greed and everything, and I liked a lot of that in this movie, and I liked how there was a certain character who changed throughout the movie and turned from one thing to something completely different at the end. And I thought that that was one of the best elements of the movie. And I also thought the basketball player, Kevin Garnett, did a really good job. In fact, I would probably say it's the best performance by a basketball player in a movie.
Like a dramatic one. We've seen
Yeah.
comical ones.
I would say also counting in comical ones, because I mean, Space Jam is a piece of shit. And especially, I mean, ugh. I would never want to watch Space Jam again. But anyway, what else do you have to say, Safi? I mean, without spoilers, this is a great movie. It's not a movie for everybody.
No.
It's definitely a movie for smart people. What wasn't the last one a movie for smart people that we reviewed? What was the last movie we reviewed? Or there was something, but that doesn't matter. This movie, it's not for people who just want to watch these stupid Marvel movies where you just turn off your brain and pretend like you don't know what really is real or not. You know, this is a movie that it's art. It's artsy, but it has a point to it. It's not an agenda movie. But it has a message to it that's what the story's about. I mean, it's not like the movie's about something else and they inserted an agenda into it. The agenda is in the script, and it's not really an agenda where it's preaching to you or it's doing anything like that, because there's actually a lot of other addiction movies, and that's what they do.
Yeah, no, this wasn't anything like that.
Yeah.
This was actually a message that it thread throughout the movie. It was like somebody weaving something together, and you didn't. It wasn't obvious. It was, but it wasn't. It just floors me that I didn't see it, because when you have an addiction, you just didn't you ignore everything. You just keep doing it over and over and over again, and uh, that's why people probably felt that was annoying, because number one, he wasn't being funny. I guess he was a couple times, but it's not like the usual funny, quote, funny movies you see him make. Um, but he would, I mean, I said he got himself locked into a trunk with wearing no clothes. And he was humiliated. I won't say what things happened to him, but over and over. And he would just, it was like I told Marco, it was like he had a lobotomy, because he didn't seem to notice it. I mean, I think he was like punched right in the face in public. And
And
it's like,
punched in the throat twice.
yeah, or if you're punched in the throat, you could actually die. You could, or not breathe, or can't talk. I mean, a lot of things could happen. And it was like he was one of those, it was one of these like clowns, and it was plastic, and it had a weight in the bottom, and you push it over, and it popped right back up, and you push it, and it's like an inflatable thing that I grew up with. And I think I've seen them today. Maybe they're just vintage and resold or something. That you punch them down, and they pop right back up. And that's what he would do. And he's just on to making his next deal.
He's like that boxing figure in that. Remember that Leave It to Beaver episode when he's teaching him to box because he thinks he needs to fight a boy, and he's punching that that bobble figure that pops back up, and then it knocks Beaver over, and then he finds out that he actually is supposed to fight a girl because the girl punched him in the face. But no, I actually I thought that he was a very sympathetic character, because everything seemed to go wrong for his character,
Yeah.
except for like one thing. I mean, even early on in the movie, something quote unquote goes right, and then you find out it really doesn't, and it's like that's the whole movie. He can't even get the door to his store open. I mean, that's the type of world that he's living in, and so even though, I mean, I just kind of over, because they don't really make him as much of a villain as they could have, which is good. That they make him more of just like
A schmuck.
yeah, a Shylock, and and at the end, and well, I won't say anything because I don't want to spoil anything, because I'll have to. We'll talk about that in spoilers. So what's your rating, Safi?
Well, this past Christmas, I was seriously considering getting this dessert, and the only reason why I didn't get it was because we had been eating tiramisu, but I had ordered it from a place. It was really good, but it went out of business. So I ordered it from Goldbelly, a place on Goldbelly's, if you've ever heard of that. It's a platform where many restaurants, bakeries, places all around the country, they sell their goods through Goldbelly, and you order them and you get them in a few days. So anyway, they had this dessert, and it was a cake baked over a pie. And this is what this movie reminded me of. I don't, necessarily know how good it was, the dessert, since we didn't get it, but I might get it in the future just to see what it's like. But the pie is what the movie is really about. The cake is just the fluff, the cover up, the what everybody sees, but they don't really understand the underlying uh, subject or message or whatever of the movie. And that's what I rated it. So truthfully, I didn't. If it was, he's giving it a letter grade because this is probably a little bit more understandable since I haven't had the dessert yet. But it's the representation of it is what I think the movie was like. But I'd probably give the movie a C. I was upset by the ending, but it makes sense for somebody who has a problem because either you just keep going or somebody takes you out of it or you take yourself out of it. It just depends on who you are and the circumstances. So go ahead, Marco.
Safi doesn't like the ending. She actually thinks that I should have told her the ending. It's like
No, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I'm glad you didn't. But I was so shocked. It took me a while to get over it. I don't want to say anything else. The ending actually, like Marco said, originally, I don't know if you picked it up because it kind of got muddled and everything else. That it was like the last quarter of the movie. It sped up and it was really good.
So you agree that the last part of the movie is good?
Well, it was because
everything pays off.
That's right. That's right. That's
everything.
Right. Everything.
And yeah, and it was actually also funny because before I saw this movie, I actually watched a Christmas Psych episode, and it was all about gambling. Or no, it wasn't. It had some elements of gambling, and Gus's mother, she actually goes to a bookie, and she's placing a bet. And so I thought it was funny that I watched that before watching this movie. But anyways, it was hard to rate this movie because it has to do with the factor that it's very messy and chaotic and kind of repetitive throughout the movie. But then at that last act, it really tightens up. And so it was really hard to think of something in terms of food to equate it to that experience.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to give overall a big jumbo deli sandwich that you eat while walking down the street, and you have to eat it really fast. And there's lots of times where you're on a vacation or a trip, maybe where you have to rush and eat something while you're walking to the next place, or you're leaving a museum to go to another museum, and you have to stuff something down your throat and eat it. And the experience isn't very pleasant, but then by the end everything pays off because it was actually really, really good, a lot better than you expected. And so you have like salami, cheeses, Swiss cheese, ham, all sorts of different meats, and then you have some red onions and some different sauces, and the bread is really nice, and it's freshly baked bread, and like that's what this movie is. It's a food that you eat really, really quick, like a big jumbo deli sandwich, and but then you're really satisfied by the end because it was so good.
Okay, well, it sounds like we're finished.
That was weird.
And we'll have to come back, and I guess, I don't know if we should do any spoilers.
Was that a weird food review, Safi?
Well, it was just very hard. I still would like to get that dessert.
A big deli sandwich that you stuff down your throat, and it tastes good because it was good, but you're stuffing it down your throat. I don't know. Well, in terms of spoilers, we can just say like a couple of things. I mean, just like a few things. Number one, the side character, the mistress, she was really good. She was definitely a highlight of the movie.
Yes, she doesn't look good, meaning her actions don't make her look so good at the beginning, but then in the end, she's like almost like somebody to root for. I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, well,
if you don't like him, then you should like her by the end. I mean, to say that you don't like her by the end is just shows that you're not even watching the movie.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I mean people
Oh.
watching.
No, she turns out to be. Well, see, she doesn't. See, the thing is, she doesn't have an addiction. He does. And that's why she turns out and can think. And despite not knowing, like, she did not know about this betting on specifics either. I never heard of it. And so she just wrote down, she wrote down everything he told her. And so she kept the note very secure and safe. And so she was able to look at it, and she didn't forget the note or not look at the note. She looked at it, she kept careful notes, and she could read it, and it helped.
And every time his character started gambling, all it sounded to me was like. That's what it sounded like.
Was almost incoherent because this deal he was making made him high, and that's what addiction is. It's really amazing because you hear about drugs. I mean, we live in an area where people, they're still doing it, they just don't talk about it because they've been able to distribute this remedy, and so people dropped down on the pavement, or they dropped in their car while they were driving in the middle of an intersection, or they're in a parking lot of a fast food restaurant and they just pass out, their children in the back seats. I mean, this all happened here where we live, like a chronic place in the United States where people are using drugs, but they don't care. They're just, and it just, the world is moving around them quickly, and they're just getting their next fix, and they drop down, now they take this drug, and it makes them pop back up, and they're back at it again, over and over again.
It's so funny how Safi's talking like this now, because when she first saw the movie, she was like, "Hey, get him. He was like a person with a hole in his head, and
Well, yeah, because the reason why I said that was because he'd get this abuse, and it's just like when you're a drug addicted person, you may not eat for 24 hours, and then you come down slowly from your high or whatever, and you start pigging out, and you could steal food, or you just go get in a refrigerator and just shove all this stuff down your throat, but that's the way he was, and it was like he just had a lobotomy. Like I don't know, it was just really weird, and I just wasn't seeing it because I'm so used to seeing a different kind of addiction. And this is what addiction, period, looks like.
One thing that we really didn't talk about was the villain. Otto! There's like a million if you took a shot every time Adam Sandler said, Otto! Otto! and you'd be drunk. But the villain in this movie, a lot of people have said, because what they do in the movie is they kind of make it a mystery who he is, because it seems like Adam knows him somehow, he knows him in some way, he's related to him or he's friends with him, and then they're at a Passover family event, which we both really liked.
I liked it
I
because
thought that was cool.
I've never seen that before, and I liked that.
And then it's revealed that Otto is a member of his family, and
that was shocking.
I really liked that, but but it wasn't that shocking to me, and a lot of other people said that like they don't like that, the fact that they hid that information.
I don't know why. Why not?
But I actually thought that it worked. And I thought that it was hard because his character, he was so evil, and so
he had a bad look on his face.
It made it even worse that he was a part of his family and he's like this evil, and it's like like you can't escape from him, and he does some great acting with like not even speaking.
It's just his face.
And then by the end of the movie, he makes a transition too. and unfortunately that doesn't work out, and and that was really cool too because that really paid off after the whole movie. He's just this evil monster. Like he's a worse villain than all the other villains from the whole year of movies, like stupid Chris Evans and Knives Out and Thanos and all those other weak villains. Like he's a lot better than all of those villains. Do you agree with that, Safi? Come on. Is he the best villain you've seen all year? You can't name a villain better than him.
No, I guess not.
I mean, Ford v Ferrari. No, wait, no. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They weren't really that much characters compared to him.
Well, we knew all about him anyway. I did.
They're more like cartoons.
This guy, since we didn't know anything about the story, and they kept us in the dark about his identity, it was more of a shock, I guess.
He was an unpleasant person too. He didn't have like any humanity until
he did
the very
at the
end
end.
of the movie.
At the end, he did,
And
which was surprising.
And that's what you call payoff. And then what else?
Well, I don't know, but the ceremony, the Passover. This past Christmas, I watched a couple of movies which talked about incorporated the Jewish religion into the story and culture, and in this movie they showed that. It was a surprise. It wasn't anything we were expecting to see. Then we see the villains is at the dinner table, and they did this ceremony. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. I mean, to me, I thought that was very interesting. I was really happy to see it because I didn't know a thing about it. You say they're having a Passover dinner. Well, we had Easter dinner. We had Christmas dinner. We had Christmas Eve Swedish dinner. You think, oh, it's about, you have all this food, you might pray, and that's it. But no, they had this big ceremony. I thought it was very interesting.
Little stuff like that added to the movie. And there was another element that added. I could talk about this movie for hours, but I'm going to speed.
We should stop.
We'll stop soon. I promise. There was a set of twins, and they both had this weird hair, and they were kind of bald, and they were more people who Adam owed money to, and like just having little touches to the movie, like the Passover, and then those characters and stuff like that. That really adds to the movie, and makes it more than just what it could have been.
Well, there were people he was making deals with and screwing over, and that's but they just kept feeding themselves into it like they were stupid because they were turning themselves into victims of his addiction.
Yeah, like they were stupid too, and to think he was gonna pay them back.
Yeah, they're not. I mean. They're victims,
actually,
but you can't really feel sorry for them because it's like they have an addiction too of being stupid.
They're stupider than him. That's something that no one else has considered.
Well, that's another thing. He's not stupid. He's addicted, and there's a difference.
Did they just enjoy giving money to someone who's not going to pay them back?
No, they just think they're getting something for nothing. And there's a lot of people like that, and they're not addicted, and they're not evil.
The funniest.
Stupid.
The funniest part of the movie, I thought, was the part when he's sitting in the school play, and he's like looking around, he's getting ready to enjoy the play, and then he looks around and he looks behind him, and all of a sudden he sees the evil villain sitting in the theater, staring at him.
And he has his friends with him.
And then he makes a run for it.
They want their money.
They're just, they're everywhere. You can't escape them. That was hilarious to me. I don't think it was supposed to be hilarious, but I just thought it was hilarious. And especially since it's Adam Sandler, and he's got like a really funny face. But okay, one thing about the ending, really, really quickly, is that Adam Sandler gets killed, and that's unfortunate because
Marco.
his character, he finally wins at the end, and then he just gets killed But one thing that I kind of was mystified by was the choice of the ending credits. Because what the camera does is it zooms into Adam Sandler's wound, the wound inside his head, and then it goes to the inside of the uncut gem again. And so to me, I interpreted that as the gem is working its magic and healing the wound and making it so that he's alive. That's what I actually thought at the end. I didn't think he was dead for sure. Like I know that he's dead and everything, but from that imagery that they chose with zooming in inside his wound, showing the inside of the gym, I thought that meant the gym was working its magic. Because the gym, it was magical, it was powerful, and he rubbed that gym. And after rubbing that gym, everything went good for him. And like, to be honest, he probably should have just kept that gym. And if he had kept it, maybe he'd still be alive. Because the gym was just the gym would work magic. It seems like there was no consequence for anything. Like if you have that gym, it'll do anything you want it to.
Well, they showed the basketball player taking it with him to the game, and
Yeah.
he touched it or rubbed it, and this is very common with sports players. They have some kind of lucky charm,
Yeah.
or they something about their clothes, or their socks, or their shirts, or something they take with them, and they can't. They always have to have it on game day, and he had this gem with him. He rubbed it several times, and he played a really, really good game. But he was a really good basketball player. So
What do you think about that theory about him about zooming inside the wound?
I didn't think that at all. I thought he was dead. Period.
Because like what they're showing is you're zooming into his wound, and then his wound turns into the inside of the gym. The gym is magical, so wouldn't that mean that it's working its magic?
Yeah, but you could also say it was hexed, because ever since he got it, and he has an addiction, it's brought him nothing but trouble throughout the whole movie. And of course, he has an addiction. So is it the gym, or is it his addiction, or is it both? So you could look at it like that. It's not something magical, it's a hex, and it's unlucky. And everybody who has it's going to be. But of course, the basketball player had one of the best games of his life after touching the gym.
Well, twice. He had
Oh,
two perfect games.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So that's it.
That's it, everybody. And we'll be back. We have lots more things to do. I just have this reselling business. We have all these things that we do. It's very busy. So it's a little harder to do these videos.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.